Alright, first off, I'd like to say, Kal Halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Yoshai, Ba'Shem Akal Kodash, double honors to the apostles of Grave and Stone. Shalom to you, brothers out there pushing this word of the Lord in sincerity and honesty, without wavering. Right, shalom to you, sisters that listen, right, and whoever helps the camps. It's just here, thinking, just wandering in the spirit, that is an impromptu, and just thinking, it just dawned to me, what are you guys who don't, what are you guys who don't, dwell in these prophecies? What are you gonna do when, when shit start to get real, when all hell start to break loose, as if the saying goes, when the shit hits the fan, what are you guys gonna do? That put your hope in this world, in this society, that things are gonna continue as they are, or things are going to get better and not worse. What are you going to do when the Lord prove you wrong? When this thing come to abrupt end, seeing that you weren't putting your trust in the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yoshai, and seeking deliverance from through that medium, right? But rather, seeking to keep yourself stable through your fiat currencies, or whatever else you might consider to be tangible in this world, right? See, right now we're at a point where the Lord is about to make his coming, which are going to bring a few things before that, right? Which the economy is going to collapse, the dollar is going to fail, money is going to come to naught. Right, there's gonna be civil unrest. I watched a video that someone was doing recently. Was saying that there have been 800 civil unrest in different nations since 2008. 800. Right, and that's a lot of civil unrest. Right, there are unrests going on right now. Right, and it's gonna get worse. It's gonna eventually evolve into sedition. Right, and then you're gonna have other things along with that. Speaking of race wars, class wars, gender wars. It's gonna be a whole thing going on. Right, and that's the reason why the scripture say, I'm gonna get it shortly. You flee into a house. You run from a lion and a bear met you, and you went into a house and rested on the wall, a serpent and a serpent bit you, right? Because there's gonna be so many things going on, right? From the famine, you're trying to get something to eat to stay alive. From the pestilences and diseases, you're trying to stay, out of certain areas so you don't get sick. Certain waters, so it's gonna be poisoned. Right, you're gonna have to be hiding from men that want to, kill you for whatever food you have. Men that want to kill you, just for your existence, or just because they're a psychopath, striving in social unrest. Right, but there's gonna be so many things, and there's gonna be the war. Right, you're gonna try to avoid being drafted to go to war. It's gonna be it's so many things. Let me get in some precepts though, because there's so many things. It's Isaiah 26:20. It says, "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself, as it were, for a little moment, until the indignation of the Lord will pass." Hey, and this precept right here just remind me of the Passover. Right, because in the Passover, that's what the children of Israel had to do. They had to, put the blood of the lamb on the doors, and they had to go in and they shut them doors and don't come out. Because the Lord said, "Don't come out until it's morning, right? So it's the same thing. We shutting ourselves in, cloaking ourselves under the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yashai until this indignation overpass, right? Is righteous judgment. Not not saying that we're not going to pass under the rod, because we are going to pass under the rod, right? But yeah, we got to still hold close to the hem of his garment, right? He's the one who's bringing his punishment, is his indignation, right? So we got to hold on to the hem of his garment, pass under the rod, and then we know that we're going to be okay afterwards. But if you're going to be a spoiled child and you're going to run out there and seek refuge somewhere else, you're going to be in trouble, right? Because that's what's happening. That's what's going to happen to the majority of our people. They're going to seek refuge from them other nations, for whatever, even them own leaders, they're going to seek refuge too. But that's not the place to go, right? The place to go is under the cloak of Yahweh Bashim Yashai. Let me just finish this. It says, for behold, the Lord cometh out of his place to punish the inhabitants of the earth for their iniquities. The earth also shall disclose her blood, and shall no more cover her slain. And that it's gonna be a gruesome sight, right? Just as how you drive on a highway, right? You might see, in America, you might see a deer or a raccoon or whatever animal, or maybe a snake, dead on the highway. That's why you're gonna go around and see human carcasses, lying around with no one to bury them. Scripture said that there will be no one to bury them, right? There's gonna be lying around, right? And we speak these things, they call us doomsday prophets, but it's gonna be such a marvelous day when you actually see the things that we've been speaking come to pass, even in the same way that how we've been speaking them, talking about bodies all around. Because the Lord, the fact that we speak it, the Lord is gonna make sure it's first of all, it's not our words, right? It's not of us, it's of the Lord, right? And the fact that the Lord have us bringing it out mean you're gonna witness it. Some people that hear us speak this thing, they themselves are gonna witness the things that we have spoken. They're gonna witness it just as how we spoke it. Right? That's what the Lord has prescribed. Because the Lord word did not come out in vain. Believe that. Right? And in that time, if you don't have that spirit, if you don't have that spirit, then you're gonna be lost. You're gonna be lost with the wind. You're not gonna know what to do. Matter of fact, let me just jump forward a bit. It's Isaiah 33:6. It says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. Right? And that's what's going to keep you in that time. Having this wisdom and understanding. Right? Knowing that the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yashai, is the one who's bringing this madness. Right? And he's bringing it, so that we can move forward to the next stage. Because this place has to be destroyed. It can't continue as is. It could have never continued as is. Right? That is not what the Lord prescribed for this place. And as I was getting into before, and if you have hope in it, that it's gonna continue, or that you can make it through, then you have a next thing coming. Because that's the situation. When to get on that. I'm just trying to remember a precept in the New Testament. Let me get Romans. It's right there, but I'm not seeing it. I guess my eyes are a bit foggy. Here we go. Romans 13. And I started verse 11. It said, and let me just highlight it so you guys can see. There you go. And that knowing the time, that now is high time to awake out of sleep, For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast out the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light, right? Which put it on this truth, right? Because this truth is going to literally be our defense against the things that are going to come up on this planet, right? It's going to be our only line of defense. This truth, believing and having faith in Yahweh Hashem Yeshai, that's our only line of defense, right? There's nothing else can save us, especially mentally, because it's going to have a devastating mental impact on majority of the population, no matter where you are on this planet, right? The Lord has prescribed chaos for this place, right? And he's going to dish it out. He's going to hand it out. You're going to pass it around. Hey, it's not going to be anything. It's not going to be child's play out in this, man. And you people going to experience real fear. Let me continue. So let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting, drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envy, but put ye on the Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof. You can't, because you can't save yourself, right? There's nothing you can do to save yourself. The only deliverance from this is through the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yeshai. You know, the priest has more to it, but that's the point I wanted out of it. to put on the Lord as a shield. And I said, I don't know what you other guys gonna do, that don't preach prophecies or don't have faith in the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yeshai. I don't know what you're gonna do. When this hell start to open up on your asses, I don't know what you're gonna do. Right? And it's not far away. You might that 1,000 years bullshit is not far away. Right? We just gotta keep the faith. We gotta remember what's going on. Remember that the Lord is in control of everything. Right? He's the one who's pulling the strings. We gotta remember that, and we gotta always pray and ask the Lord, to guide us. Make us make the right choices. Right? The scripture say a man going after the Lord, how can a man then understand his own ways? We gotta pray to the Lord that he send that spirit on us, to stay in the faith, keep having faith, and pushing this truth. Right, and with that, I'm gonna say shalom.